Hi students, welcome back to this second class. I hope what I had explained yesterday was clear. Now in this second lesson we will be studying about the physical features of India. Yesterday what we learned was about the location, about the size of India, and today we will be studying about the physical features, different features or different shape that India has got. You know that India is not the same everywhere. There are high mountains are there, valleys are there, plain is there, and desert regions are there. So there are different types of places, physical features are there. We'll be studying about one by one. As India is a vast country, we can't expect everywhere to be equal. It will be different from place to place, corner to corner, and so we'll be studying about the different locations, the different physical features that India has got. We are posting the textbook as well for the sake of those who do not have the textbook with them. So you can look in your screen and see the textbook, the photo of the textbooks, and the details are given there. And the main features we'll find in India like mountains, plains, deserts, plateaus, and islands. And you may be thinking why these differences are there. Why some areas are high mountains, why some places it is plateaus, why in some places it is islands, and so on. And we know the soil is formed by different types of rocks. The rocks are getting powdered and slowly they turn out to be soil. And there are different types of rocks are there. Hard rock is there, soft rock is there, and some of them are different in color and so on. So according to the different type of rocks, different color of rocks, when it gets powdered and becomes soil, the soil also will get that color. That is how we have different type of soil in different parts of our country. And coming to the India is a large landmass formed during the different geographical periods which has influenced relief. So the landmass, India belongs to a large landmass, and it is not just formed within a few years, but it was formed, it took millions of years to get formed, and it has influenced the different relief that is found, the physical relief or features that are found in our country. And we can say that apart from these geographical formations, a number of processes such as weathering, erosion, deposition have created and modified the relief to its present form. So the present physical features that has come apart is due to these physical features, like this process like weathering, because of the weather, whether when there is a hot weather, where there is a cold weather, or where there is a moderate weather, the stones and other things are affected. Where there is hot weather, it is possible that the rocks get powdered or cracked faster, and where there is a cold place, there is also a chance for stones get or rock get cracked, and the water enter into that cracks, and slowly it separates. So it takes millions of years to they take this transformation in the rocks, and slowly they get powdered and they become part of the soil. And another thing is due to erosion, soil erosion, and the rock also gets erodes because of the physical forces or natural forces like wind, sun, and so on. So slowly it get eroded, the stone gets powdered and become part of the soil. And another thing is deposition. It is deposited from one place to another, maybe due to the natural forces like wind and so on. It is carried from one place to another place. And and that is how it has come to this present stage. And scientists are explaining to us how this earth has been formed, or how these physical features have been formed. Different physical features have been formed, and they use a theory called plate tectonics. Plate tectonics, that is a theory. They use it in order to explain the formation of the earth. And they say the upper part of the earth has been formed by different plates. You can see in this picture there are down part is there, but the upper part of the earth is separated and it is like different plates. You can see this is the top part of the soil. It was like different plates arranged, and the movements of these plates cause the present land features of India. So these plates, they began to move, they began to drift away from one part to another, and they began to move. You can see the arrow marks are given there, that shows how they are moving. They are moving in different directions. Here two plates are coming close to each other, here two plates are moving away from each other, and here we can see they are moving in different direction. One is moving upward, another one is moving downward. So the plates of the earth that had different movements in different directions and according to different directions. So the movement of these plates results in the building up of stresses within the plates and continental rocks above, leading to faulting and volcanic activities. So you can imagine when these two plates are moving close face to or moving closer to each other, there can take place a folding. They will hit each other and they will fall upward. That is how the mountain can be formed. Then here these two plates are moving away from each other, so in the middle there can be a gap, it can form into a valley, and here we can see they are moving away from one to another. So in between them there can be, or the place where it is moving away, there can be a deep valley or deep place, and that will remain, I say, a valley. So that is how the different features on the earth has formed due to this movement of the plates on top of the earth. And these movements, we can say, it did not take place within 1 year or 2 years. It took millions of years in order to complete these movements of the plates and the forming of the physical features. So we may think that all these things suddenly came up, but it all took millions and millions of years to reach the present shape of the physical features of India and also other parts of the world. So we need to understand that these movements are not taking place just within one day, but it took years and years. And we can see that all this land is peninsular part of India. So we have got the the oldest part in the world, we can say, that is the peninsular part of India, that is the southern part of India, that is the peninsular plate. We can say that is the oldest form of oldest land, we can say, by age. And olden times, before the plate starts moving, all this land mass was a single area, a single landmass, and that landmass was known as Gondwana land. It was known as Gondwana land, and it included Australia, South Africa, and South America as a single landmass. So you can see here that here South America is here, and here African plate is there. Then India and Australia, it was together, it was not separated in those days, and all these were belonging to one single landmass. Now we can see in between there's a lot of seas there, a lot of water, and each continent is separated from the other with a large water mass. But in olden times, millions of years ago, it was all belonging to a single piece, a single landmass called Gondwana landmass. But now it is all separated from one another, and because of this split in the number of plates on this earth, so it began to move and it began to break from one another, and it got separated. That is how now we have different countries, we have different land masses and different continents and so on. And we may think, why this Gondwana land, that was a single mass, or that was a single land, why it was split, or why it was divided? And the scientists say it was because of the hot and the warm current that was moving under the earth. That was the cause for the splitting, this Gondwana landmass. So because of the current, hot current or warm current that was moved under the earth, caused the split of this Gondwana land and creation of this different land masses. And different parts began to move and collide each other. So when this land mass, Gondwana land mass, split, and it began to move, as we saw in the previous page, it began to move and it began to collide each other, hit each other, and that way different land masses were formed and so on. So due to this collision, the plates were folded up and formed mountains. So when two plates were collided each other like this, it collided each other, it got folded up, and it formed mountains in West Asia and Himalaya. So all the mountains in the Western Asia, and including the Himalaya mountains, that is all formed because of this collision between the plates that was moving upon the earth. So these two collided each other and they formed mountains. So all the mountains in the Western Asia, including Himalaya, that is formed by the process of folding. And slowly it was filled with and we said the Himalayan mountains were formed by folding. So when these two places folded up, went up high, it created some empty place, some vacuum place was formed because the soil is rising up. So that place below there will be emptiness, there will be a vacuum will be there, and that is how a valley was formed there. So that valley remained there, but slowly that valley was filled with sediments. We from Himalayas how many rivers are flowing, and all these rivers are carrying a lot of sediments, and along with the water the sediments also come and they fall into this valley that was formed by the folding up of this Himalaya. Slowly this valley was filled up, and it was filled up with the type of soil called alluvial soil, which is very fertile. So that is how we have the northern plains formed in India. The most agricultural fertile land in India is this northern plains, and that is how this northern plains was formed. It was a valley before when the Himalaya was formed, and afterwards the rivers flowing into this valley, it filled up slowly. It took years, thousands and millions of years, and it filled up slowly to get with this alluvial soil that is coming along with the river water, and then that valley was filled up. It was plain, it was leveled up by this rivers that is flowing from Himalaya. That is how we have got the most fertile land in the northern area. We call it northern plains, and that is very fertile land in order to cultivate the crops. And so we got this fertile land due to the filling up with the sediments, especially with alluvial soil, and we have this new land. Then as I said in the beginning, India has got this a lot of physical variations are there. We already said that some places there is high mountains, some places it is plain area, some places it is valley, some places it is desert, and so on. So a lot of variety of physical features are there in our country. So it helps us to experience a variety of features. Otherwise throughout the country, if it were to be same everywhere, you can imagine what a boring it would have been. But now we have a very variety of features, a beautiful variety of features are there, and that is all there to help us. And it is nice that we understand how all these were formed or what are they all. It is nice to understand, then we will be able to appreciate the nature and we'll be able to take care of this nature. Otherwise we'll be just thinking that it is somehow came, and we may be even part of destroying the nature. So it is nice that we understand about the physical variation of India in order to appreciate it, in order to take care of it, and in order to protect it, or above all in order to be grateful to this great gift of India. And when we said in the beginning, the most ancient land is the peninsular area, the peninsular plateau. That is the most ancient area in our country. In olden times it was called Gondwana land. We said that olden times the Gondwana land was very large. So many continents were included into it. It was part of it, and now it is all divided and separated because of the movement of the place, and now it is in India, the peninsular plateau, and that is one of the ancient ones, oldest ones. And in this peninsular region we have got most stable land blocks. The land or the soil that is in this region, that is most stable, that is most hard, we can say. Stable we say because the rocks are very hard, the soil also is hard, and so it does not just break away simply, it remains hard. And the stones are very hard type, we can say it is something like igneous type. That means it is when the lava comes out, the stone is slowly it gets cool and it turns out to be very hard stones. That type of hard stones or granite stones that is found in this peninsular plateau, and in that way it is a very hard, we can say it is very stable and it is very hard land blocks. And if you go to Himalayan areas, we will find the Himalayan mountains are rather young. Young does not mean that it is only few years old, it is also millions of years old. But comparing to the peninsular plateau, Himalayan mountains are much young. They are much young. They were formed much later after the peninsular plateau. So it is a very unstable zone, we can say. Himalayan mountains, it is very unstable. There is no similarity everywhere. If you go to Himalayan mountains, we will find that it has got a lot of high peaks, and Everest is the highest peak in the Himalaya and also in the world. And there are so many other peaks are there which is quite high, and that can be found in Himalayas. And we can say it has also got a lot of plain areas. Some places plain means not very large but small plain areas, and it also has got deep valleys, very deep valleys, and it also has got flowing rivers through these Himalayas. And the plain that comes just after the Himalaya, that is what we said before, the northern plains, which is very large and fertile. So all these are part of Himalayas. And again I say the Himalaya, it is not equal everywhere, or it is not same everywhere. It is different from place to place, and there are high peaks are there, high mountains are there. Then it includes a lot of deep valleys between the two peaks. There are a lot of deep valleys are there. Then there are so many rivers are there, flowing rivers are there, starting from top of Himalaya, starting from top of Mount Everest and so on. So it is so as I said, the Himalayan regions, that is not at all equal everywhere, it's not at all the same everywhere. You'll find high peaks, deep valleys and flowing rivers. We may not find much valleys there, I made mistake before. We will not find as plain as such. We will find valleys, mountains, peaks and rivers. And plain we will find next to Himalayas, that is the northern plains, which is the most fertile land in India. And because of that, the farmers are settling down there. It has become a very crowded area because of the rush of the farmers to stay there, to cultivate there, and they are sure that they will be able to produce a better crop if they get chance to cultivate in northern plains. So they are happy to go there. And as I said, the peninsular region, it is more stable, and it is most of the igneous rocks we will find there. And also you'll find rocks which are metamorphic. That means they can change the form from hard to soft, it can become powder and so on. So metamorphic means changing of the form. The stones are big stones are getting powdered, or big breaking into small pieces and so on. And the hills will find not very steep hills like Himalayas, but we'll find gentle hills in the peninsular region. And also we'll find the valleys that are not very deep, but they are very wide valleys and small gentle hills. That is how we find the difference between the northern side and the peninsular plateau. The northern side, there are high mountains and deep valleys, but in the peninsular area there are small gentle hills, gentle slope hills. It is easy to climb, and valleys are very wide. That is the most difference between the northern area and the peninsular plain. I hope you have understood, and if you have any doubt, you are welcome to clarify your doubts again. And I thank you for listening to me, and we wind up the class here, and we will come again in the next class with more informations, with more classes, with more inputs. And until then, bye. Thank you.